In the heart of a quiet city stood an ordinary apartment building. Nothing unusual except for one apartment. An apartment that, strangely enough, seemed to not exist. Neighbors whispered about it. They said they could hear footsteps late at night, the sound of running water, and even the low hum of a television. But no one had ever seen who lived there. Some said it was just an old urban legend. Others swore it was real. Until one night, the door opened on its own. In that building, everyone knew each other. Faces smiled in the hallway. People greeted one another by name. But the apartment in question remained a mystery. No one had ever met its occupant. No one knew their name. Yet the sounds, always at odd hours, were impossible to ignore. It was late at night when Mrs. Clark, who lived across the hall, first heard footsteps. Quiet, slow steps pacing back and forth. She told her neighbor, Mr. Evans, who said he had heard the same sounds weeks before. And so a question began to grow in their minds. Who lived in that apartment? Soon whispers began to spread through the building. "Did you hear it last night?" one neighbor would ask. "Yes," another would reply quietly. Footsteps, water running, and sometimes a faint voice. No one knew where the voice came from. Some said it was a woman. Others claimed it sounded like a man speaking softly in a language they couldn't understand. The mystery grew deeper, and strange coincidences started to appear. Mail addressed to no one. Old newspaper clippings shivved under the door, and a faint smell of something unidentifiable. The apartment had become more than just a curiosity. It was a puzzle that everyone in the building wanted to solve. One evening, a small group of neighbors gathered by the mysterious door. They whispered plans, knocking, calling, even leaving notes slipped under the frame. But no matter what they tried, there was never an answer. No footsteps approaching the door, no flicker of light inside. Just silence, and those strange sounds that seemed to come from nowhere. Some knocked for hours. Others tried to call the apartment number listed in the building directory, only to hear a dial tone. Still, the noises continued. Footsteps pacing, water running in the middle of the night, the soft murmur of a voice. It was as if the apartment existed, but refused to be found. Curiosity turned into obsession. A few neighbors began digging into the building's history. They spoke to former residents, checked old records, and looked through dusty archives. What they found was unsettling. The apartment had stood empty for years, even decades at times. No rental records, no ownership papers, just a blank space in every directory. Yet each time someone claimed to investigate, the noises returned stronger than before. Some said it was the spirit of the long-lost tenant. Others whispered of experiments, or worse, a hidden secret behind the walls. And so the mystery deepened, as the apartment's past seemed locked away, along with its occupant. Weeks passed, and the strange occurrences grew stronger. Footsteps no longer followed a quiet pattern. They came in sudden bursts, heavy, dragging sounds. Sometimes they circled the hallway for hours. Neighbors reported hearing running water at all hours in a bathroom that no one ever saw lit. Some even said they heard a television turning on late at night, playing static and faint voices. Fear began to spread. Residents avoided the hallway near the apartment after dark. Parents kept children indoors. Yet curiosity still pulled a few brave souls closer, driven by the question that haunted them all: what was happening behind that door? One night, Mr. Evans, the longtime resident, decided to stay awake. He positioned himself in the hallway with a cup of coffee and a camera. Around midnight, he heard it again, slow, heavy footsteps approaching. Through the lens, he saw something he could never forget: a faint silhouette standing just beyond the partially open door. It was tall, but oddly distorted, like a shadow without shape. And then it vanished. When he ran to the door, there was nothing inside. No light, no movement, only silence. That night, Mr. Evans became convinced this was no ordinary apartment, and its occupant was no ordinary person. It was a night like any other. The building was quiet, the corridors dimly lit. Then, without warning, a sound broke the silence: the creak of a door opening. Neighbors rushed to the hallway. From behind the door came nothing but darkness. No sound of footsteps, no voice, just the slow, eerie swing of the door in the empty corridor. No one dared to enter. Some swore they saw faint light spilling out. Others claimed they heard whispers. The air felt colder near the apartment, and the feeling of being watched grew stronger. That night changed everything. The mystery was no longer just a rumor. It had become real. The next morning, a small group of neighbors gathered again, their curiosity stronger than their fear. They decided to enter the apartment. The hallway was silent, except for their footsteps. Inside, nothing. No furniture, no signs of life. Just an empty space with walls untouched by time. But then they found something strange. Faint footprints, as if someone had walked across the floor just moments ago. Even stranger was a small camera lying in the corner. The footage showed only darkness, and then a shape standing still in the middle of the room, staring at them before disappearing. No one could explain it. No one could explain who lived there or why. Since that night, the door to the mysterious apartment has never opened again. The sounds stopped, the footsteps vanished, the television's silence remained. But the neighbors still whisper about it. Some claim they hear faint noises when the building is still. Others swear they see shadows through the crack of the door. No one knows who lived there or what they wanted. And the question remains, if you lived in that building and heard footsteps behind a door no one ever opened, would you knock? Or would you simply walk away?
This story is over, but the archive is endless. Like, subscribe, and step deeper into the shadows.